Oh yeah.
Hi, Bryce.
Hi.
Right, okay.
Are we we're tearing down?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, you know what we're tearing down? This BS construct that this game is. I'm so mad about how I went out. I can't.
How did you do in the? Sorry, I missed it. How did you do in the game?
Oh, yeah, you know what? I illustrated how easy it is to get so smug and caught up in the moment. I own goal is what it was. Is I turned around, I just saw the goal, and I kicked, and I went around celebrating, and I was confused why everybody was yelling at me.
Call.
Call?
There's 2 twos.
You had a what? What? It seemed easy though.
It was fun. I mean, it's like all I want to do is play again, but I know we have to do more shooting.
Yeah.
But this one definitely goes in the canon. In fact, it's one I would love to see in the comments. People have to tell us their variations, like whether or not, because traditionally I'm not a fan of anything with wilds in it because it just sort of throws off the math. But in this case, I think it's a good psychological element, especially when you get to those very few last dice. Do you think, is there a World Series of Flyers dice, you think? There's gotta be.
Probably. I mean, there's a World Series tag, so like, I would not be
Maybe we
surprised.
could host the World Series of Flyers dice.
It's certainly it's an interesting table game. I wonder how it would be interesting to see what Liar's Dice looks like if you had like 20 people.
Yeah.
It would take a really long time, but if you figure out a way to eliminate people quicker.
Well, I think you would split into different tables and then get down to winners and then go down because I think four is the max.
Just do one big one. You could.
Oh, that would be bonkers.
Yeah.
That'd be totally bonkers. Hey, you guys want to comment about how this game's a fraud and you're all fraudsters?
What? I think the only fraud here is right there.
Hey!
Old Dominoes.
Who brought y'all cookies today?
Okay.
Actually,
That's a good point.
totally legit.
That's a good point. That's a good point. You won fair and square.
Well,
I mean,
let
luck.
me tell
Does
you.
luck count as fair and square?
And the fact that these are magnetic. She clearly has magnets in these dice.
You had magnetic
That's-
I've
dice.
got
why we're
magnets
using-
in my hands.
Yeah.
Don't you know? You have your chip, I've got magnets. Actually, that would be pretty damn cool.
I
I assure you, my friends would be very, very surprised to find that I won this because I do not win games. I usually don't even understand the game.
Hey, you hear that, Brian? Annaliese never wins games.
Unless this is the first time I'm playing dominoes. Or this, apparently. It's a beginner's luck thing. It never sticks around, so don't get too excited.
This was fun, though.
Yeah,
It was a fun game. I've never played it before. It was good. It was a lot more exciting than the Pirates of the Caribbean scene, which just didn't make any sense.
Yeah. Well, that's apparently a whole bunch got cut. Like I did the deep
re-edited?
dive on that,
Oh, yeah.
and apparently the editors cut so much out of it
Yeah.
that it made it almost impossible to understand what was happening, or like why it was significant that this person would be playing this, that person would be playing that, Fish Dude was doing the other things.
I want to say there's
But
Liar's
there's, like, a
Dice
whole-
in some video game, like a Witcher type thing.
Oh, I don't know.
I don't remember.
Tell us in the
Sounds
comments.
right. Yeah. yeah,
Tell
exactly.
us in the comments.
Jeff, what did you think?
It was fun. Again, yeah, it kind of looked like a dice version of the BS card game to a certain extent. But it was most enjoyable watching you guys. Well, except for you, Annaliese, really try to like hone in on these strategies. You're really trying for this game that you just learned, and we it played out predictably.
And then there's me over there just getting.
Yeah, and I don't know,
it-
3 4s. It's fine. Call.
Once I like kind of understood the rules, it was literally just like, what's the first thing I can think of? Play it.
Yeah. Annaliese's like, the Six of Pentacles.
I mean, that's a thing I would say.
I want to learn how to
Seven
play.
of Wands.
Yeah, I want to learn how to play poker with tarot cards.
Can you?
What's the? I think there's a way. I think there's a way. But like,
We need to get Joe Diamond back here and do some stuff with tarot cards.
Yeah,
Even if just like telling stories and like how this stuff works. So, I mean, we're about to start setting up for the next thing, which is hopefully going to be very straightforward.
Yep.
So,
It's got poop in it.
yeah, because apparently that's my thing now is you guys have the cool spy shit and the fun things, and then I'm like, But don't
Here's-
forget you have to poo.
Annalisa, everybody poops Martin.
Guess so. Well, it's true.
It's true.
Yeah, we can talk more about that if we do a teardown for that. For this episode, what was the sort of idea behind just doing like a game episode? Because I think it'll cut down. I mean, it was like a 50-minute recording. I think it'll probably cut down to like a 35-minute video.
That was only 50. How long did that take?
Almost an hour.
That was almost an hour?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That felt really fast.
Yeah, and so like, what was the idea behind just like, oh yeah, today we're just gonna play a game?
I thought it sounded it fits into the gentleman pillar that we loosely adhere to, I think, and it's got a cool name that sounds kind of modern roguey, Liar's Dice.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought, oh, that sounds like something we should do, and also we're trying to. I don't want to step on like Scam Nation's toes, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So this feels kind of like a Scam Nation episode, but with Modern Rogue, part of it is like, you know, knowing how to play poker and blackjack and
Two
liar's
things
dice.
I don't know how to do.
Which we're going to have a guest on, hopefully, within the next couple of months, who can teach us poker and liar's dice and stuff like that. Or not liar's dice, poker and blackjack.
Oh, I think we've got liar's dice.
Yeah, I
now.
think we got. Yeah, we do. Yeah, it's great. But yeah, I thought that was a good
Yeah,
addition.
get back to the basics
like,
and stuff.
you know, dice and card games. Like I want to do some craps, stuff like that, and just kind of expand our repertoire a little more. And it turns out that like didn't seem like a lot of people knew how to play this, so I
None
thought
of
it
us
would be
did.
a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's cool, and I think it'll be a fun like almost like personality focused video. Rather, I mean, obviously there's like a certain level of skill with like learning the rules, and there's like strategy and everything. But it is kind of about reading your opponents and like kind of playing the numbers a little bit.
Yeah, and hopefully, you know, the audience will feel like they're there with us and invested in the stakes, and that they're, you know, watching the game develop and learning along with us. Because you know, none of us had played before then. Brian read about it right before the show. Annalise and I read about it yesterday.
Pretty much.
And trying to brush up on it, and so it was fun just figuring everything out. But then, as everyone got into it, and hopefully the audience will connect with that and kind of feel like they're a part of it.
Yeah.
That's the idea.
Let me turn on the lights real quick. Overhead's coming on. 3, 2, 1. Bryce, talk to me a little bit about our setup, because our setup was a little bit different today compared to usual.
Yeah, it was a little different. We had Annalisa on the episode. We were a little short staffed today, so I was running audio here. We've got 4 mics going today. Brian, Jason, Annalisa, and David Rowan. And yeah, we have everybody plugged into the Zoom here. And because I was on kind of a more locked off kind of stationary shot, we can actually show you here on the preview at least. My shot was something like this, where you can see 2 people, or what we call a 2-up. And so it didn't move too much, because you could see all of David on the one side and all of Annalisa on the other. And so I ended up doing a little bit of double duty, and then we had our crane capturing the overhead and some of the player, what their roles were before they got started. And so I was also monitoring that with one of our ninjas here, so I could see a video screen of what that camera up there was looking at without needing to be up there.
Yeah, so we've got an HDMI here, and it's a very long HDMI cable, and it coils up here, and then it goes up this way, and then it kind of wraps around that. And then so this was actually pulled way down here, just like 5 feet above, 4 feet above.
About there, more or less.
Yeah, kind of like that. So it was rather close. And then I kind of had I had this camera here, and it was like right underneath.
Yeah.
So my head was kind of like
Going up.
hitting this cable a little bit. But I had a
You also had the Sony. Was this your first time using the Sony today?
yeah.
It's not bad. The autofocus is pretty quick if you had the autofocus on.
I did not.
but it's not too bad. It gets a good image. We've been using it for the Great Night podcast for the past few months or so, and it's nice. It's a little different, getting used to the Sony versus the Panasonic system, but otherwise it does pretty much everything that we need it to. It's good, and this is I think Corey's lens. This is a zoom lens. It goes all the way from 18, which is relatively wide, to 135 millimeters, which is really tight. Which is pretty tight.
Yeah, that was interesting. The image on this seemed a bit contrasty.
And it may not have been set to our normal LUT, our Cine-like. Normally we have a lower contrast color profile that we shoot in on the Lumixes.
Yeah, it's not quite log, but it's like halfway there, maybe.
Yeah, and so the Sony, which we only really use for Great Night, which we try to have a little bit of processing done in camera already, so you get a little more contrast, and it comes a little poppier already. Versus this, which is a little more ready for fancier color grading, more accurate color grading. But yeah, I don't know. Did you have any problems with the Sony?
No, it was pretty good. It was it wasn't like the smoothest zooming in and out, but not too bad. The focus and zoom are like backwards from what I'm used to, so that was a little bit of an adjustment, but not too bad. But yeah, I kind of use that as mostly telephoto to zoom in on the dice and to just like bounce around on faces just to get a different angle on people talking.
Yeah.
And yeah, they did all the dice here on this mat, which is Brian's like magic mat.
Mm-hmm. The Rogues Arena. This is like a special prototype. I think we only have it in black, but I think this was a prototype that we made with red felt. And so you see this a lot, because the black, usually we have a black tablecloth here for Scam Nation. Black on black, it gets lost some of the details there. So we use this felt one, the red felt, and it gets a little bit of good contrast in kind of a sea of black.
Yeah. And then other than that, I mean, Jeff was on this I think Jeff just stepped out. He was on this camera, and it was similar to Bryce's shot, just a little bit closer up. But it was also a two-shot.
Yeah, something like this. The lights are on, but yeah, you could. It's another similar shot where we've got space for the heads of two people. In fact, you can see it here. Like, it should be just right.
Yeah.
They're talking, and you get both. Jason was here, and Brian was over here, and yeah, you get everybody playing, and yeah.
Yeah. How did you feel about the episode, content-wise?
Good. It was long because the game that they played takes a while.
Yeah.
But I thought it was pretty fun. I thought it was easy to follow as somebody who was juggling 2 or 3 different things.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it'll be pretty easy to understand. I think that was the difficult part that maybe felt like the most turbulence of like, how do we explain this game that is so similar to a bunch of other games without like saying just those games, or making sure you give as full of an explanation as you can. Because it's so difficult, especially when it's a game you've just learned, to also teach it to other people really, really soon after. Because you might have a full understanding, but you may not have run through it a lot. It may not be routine.
Right.
And so there was a little bit of that in the beginning.
Yeah, and there's also like a bunch of different variations of the game. Mm-hmm. So there was a little bit of friction at the very, very beginning of like, okay, which version are we playing? And then like getting maybe a little confused at times. But once they started getting a turn or two into it, it all went quite smoothly at that point.
Yeah, exactly. Once they got started, it's a game where if you watch people play it, you get it pretty quickly. And thankfully, they didn't do a more complicated variation. You can do it more complicated. It can take even longer. I think the total shoot was about 48 minutes.
Yeah.
And so that'll probably get pared down quite a bit. But whenever there's steps in games like that, it always just makes it go long because you have to see everything. You have to see everybody take their turn.
Yeah, my estimate I gave him earlier is that'll probably be like a 35-minute episode or 30, something like that.
I could see that because there's a lot of talk. There's a lot
Yeah.
of smack talk and
Yeah, and it's like,
that's fun.
yeah, you gotta kind of, you can't, that's a tough one to do just like kind of highlights for.
Yeah.
You kind of have to show like the whole process and all of the moves because that affects how people make decisions later on and all that stuff.
Yeah, there was a TV program that I watched that they only made for a little while, but it was like a 10 or 11 minute show where they would have a panel of people playing Baccarat, and so it was an interesting thing because you have to explain Baccarat, which is a game people don't know very well. You have to explain it very quickly, and then make sure all your personalities know how to play it, and then like. I don't know, you have to make it easy. You have to make it seem easy and understandable. So this reminded me a little bit of that, of like, we know a simple game, but we can play it as quick as we want to, or we can take as long as we want to add character and smack talk and stuff like that.
Yeah. And then also one last thing, I guess. For audio, we push it a bit quieter than usual, and I'll probably end up, if I'm editing this one, pulling it all up in post.
Yeah.
Just because with you bouncing around between, two different cameras and audio,
Yeah.
it seemed sensible to kind of just like give a bunch of headroom because they're going to be loud. The dice shakings ended up sounding like way louder than I expected.
Yeah. These are plastic cups. The insides are not. They're also plastic. And
Yeah.
it all shakes.
Just from hearing it, did it sound kind of okay? Ultimately, we won't really know until.
Yeah, I
we
think
see.
it'll be workable. It was a tough one because it was a lot of loud and very quiet, and so
Yeah.
I did end up probably writing a little bit more of the volume than normal, but yeah, it was it sounded good. It'll be good.
It's one of those things where it's like, man, if we had a Zoom F6, oh,
Wow.
baby,
Oh yeah.
it would be.
Have you gotten to use it yet?
I've seen it. Yeah. It looks
I
nice.
like it.
Wait, who did for the company got a new Zoom?
No.
Brandt did.
No,
Oh, you got a new Zoom.
I have one for my own personal use for Emergent Beacon at youtube.com/emergentbeacon.
How is it?
It's great.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's phenomenal.
Yeah.
I got one of the older ones. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
But mine is like 7 years
The
old.
sound was too good. It was creepy.
Really?
Yeah, great sound, excellent
Super
build
easy to
quality.
use.
Yep,
Yeah.
really intuitive. Anyway, I think that's going to be it for this one.
We gotta get set up for the next one.
Yeah, thanks for joining me. Bye.
Bye.